Nobody wakes up one morning and decides to invent eternal torture. Not unless something has gone terribly wrong in the human mind, or in the systems that control it. Because when you strip away the sermons, the fire and brimstone theatrics, the dramatic paintings of screaming souls, a darker question crawls out from underneath. Who actually needed hell to exist in the first place? Ancient texts don't agree, not even close. And that's where things get unsettling. In the oldest Mesopotamian writings, the afterlife wasn't a blazing furnace of punishment. It was dust, gray, silent, a dead-end basement of existence, where kings and beggars sat together, chewing clay like broken teeth. No judgment, no demons with pitchforks, just a bleak continuation of being nobody. Frankly, it sounds less like punishment and more like cosmic neglect, and as if the universe itself had ghosted humanity. Creepy, yeah, but not sadistic. Then something shifts. In early Hebrew writings, the realm of the dead, Sheol, is still basically a shadowy pit.
No fire, no torture.
Just absence. A place where memory fades and God's presence doesn't reach. Imagine being locked in a sensory deprivation chamber forever. Not screaming agony, just the slow erosion of self. Honestly, that might be worse. But again, no elaborate torment. No eternal sadism. So where did the fire come from? Who added the pain? Historians notice a pattern that's hard to unsee once it clicks. The concept of a punishing hell intensifies precisely when societies become more hierarchical, more anxious, more obsessed with control. When empires rise, hell gets hotter. When authority feels threatened, punishment becomes eternal. Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe not. Zoroastrian texts from ancient Persia introduce something new. A moral sorting machine after death. Suddenly, your actions matter. Suddenly, there's a cosmic courtroom. Souls cross a bridge that widens for the righteous and narrows to a blade for the wicked. Fall off, and you land in a place of stench, darkness, torment. Not random suffering, targeted punishment. This is no longer cosmic indifference. This is surveillance beyond the grave. Ask yourself why that idea would be appealing to rulers trying to maintain order among millions of people they could never fully police. Then Greek traditions crank the imagery further. Tartarus, not just a prison, a maximum security. Nightmare for beings who defied divine authority. Titans chained, bodies torn apart, reassembled, torn apart again. Punishments tailored to the crime, repeated endlessly. It's less like justice and more like a message. Rebellion will not just fail. It will be remembered forever. By the time later religious texts emerge, hell isn't just a place anymore. It's a system, structured, populated, managed, flames, demons, gates, hierarchies of suffering. Someone designed this architecture. Someone refined it, generation after generation, until it became psychologically unavoidable. And here's the uncomfortable bit. The descriptions grow more vivid exactly. When literacy spreads among common people, when stories can travel, when fear can scale, you start seeing language that feels less like revelation and more like warning labels. Fire that never dies, worms that never sleep, darkness you can feel pressing against your skin. These aren't abstract metaphors. They're sensory instructions for terror, the kind that stick in your brain when you're lying awake at night, wondering if one wrong move could doom you forever. Psychologists have pointed out something eerie. Humans are far more motivated by loss and punishment than by reward. Promise someone paradise, they shrug. Threaten them with eternal agony. Suddenly they're paying attention. It's basic behavioral conditioning, thousands of years before the term existed. So did ancient writers describe hell because they saw it, or because they needed you to imagine it. Even within the texts themselves, contradictions leak through like cracks in a wall. Some passages describe annihilation. The wicked simply cease to exist. Others insist on conscious torment forever. Some portray hell as separation from the divine, not physical torture. It's as if different authors were arguing across centuries, each escalating the horror to make their version stick. And then there's the moral paradox nobody likes to talk about. Eternal punishment for finite crimes. Infinite suffering for actions committed during a lifetime that barely lasts a blink in cosmic terms. If justice is proportional, hell is wildly disproportionate, more like vengeance than balance, unless the point isn't justice at all. Consider this, in many ancient societies, public executions were theatrical, slow, visible, designed to imprint fear into the crowd. Hell reads like the ultimate extension of that. Logic, punishment so extreme it doesn't even need to happen in this world. You carry it inside your head. You police yourself. No guards required. A perfect control mechanism. No escape, no appeal, no expiration date. But there's another layer that makes the whole thing even darker. Some early mystical traditions didn't place hell underground or after death at all. They described it as a state of being, a soul consumed by its own corruption, trapped in isolation, cut off from meaning. Not flames, emptiness. Not demons. Yourself, stripped of every comforting illusion. That interpretation quietly undermines the whole external torture narrative. Because if hell is internal, no authority controls it. No institution mediates it. It becomes psychological, not geographical. Funny how that version rarely gets the spotlight. And then comes the twist that really messes with your head. In several traditions, the same divine source is credited with creating both paradise and damnation. The architect of comfort is also the architect of torment, which raises a question that theologians have wrestled with for centuries and still can't neatly resolve. Why would a benevolent creator design a system where suffering has no endpoint? Some argue it's about free will. Others say it's about justice. Critics whisper something far more disturbing. Maybe hell reflects human imagination more than divine intent. Our fears, our rage, our desire to see enemies punished beyond forgiveness. Because let's be honest, people don't just fear. Hell, sometimes they secretly want it to exist. They want tyrants, murderers, betrayers to face consequences so severe they balance the scales of history. Hell becomes emotional compensation for a world where justice often fails. A cosmic courtroom where no one gets away with anything. But what if that desire shaped the stories themselves? Anthropologists have noted that descriptions of hell often mirror the worst punishments known at the time. Fire pits, iron hooks, boiling liquids. Confinement, these weren't abstract horrors. They were real methods used on Earth. It's as if societies projected their own brutality onto the afterlife, then sanctified it. Which flips the narrative entirely. Instead of hell descending from the heavens, maybe it rose from human experience, from war, torture, famine, prisons. Mass suffering then got wrapped in divine language to make it unquestionable. And if that's true, the scariest part isn't the fire. It's the possibility that hell is a mirror. A reflection of what humans are capable of doing and imagining. When fear and power intertwine, even today, long after many people claim not to believe in literal demons or lakes of fire, the concept still lingers in language, in nightmares, in the quiet dread of what if. It survives because it taps into something primal. The terror of irreversible consequences, of doors that close forever, of suffering that no apology can undo. So who created hell according to ancient texts? Depends which text you trust. Some say God, some say cosmic law, some imply rebellious forces, and some, the ones buried in footnotes and obscure translations, hint that hell isn't a place anyone built. It's a condition humanity discovered, or invented. And maybe the most unsettling possibility isn't that hell awaits us after death, but that its blueprint has always been inside us, passed down through stories, refined by fear, polished by authority, until we can't tell whether it was revealed from above or engineered from below. Because if humans designed hell, even unconsciously, then the flames aren't divine judgment. They're evidence of how far imagination will go when it's fed by guilt, anger, and the need to control what cannot be controlled. And once you see it that way, a final question lingers like smoke that won't clear. If hell was created to frighten the wicked, why does it terrify the innocent just as much?